Ivor Cindy.
Good evening and welcome to the January 19th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening and welcome. Sorry for the delayed start. We did have a workshop earlier this evening, and for those of you that are just we do have a public hearing scheduled for 6 o'clock, so without any further ado, Waterboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 19th, beginning at 6 p.m. to review and receive comment from the public for the following: Parks Ordinance amendments. So I would call this meeting to order. And Gordon, do you want to, since how this has kind of been your baby, you want to quickly go through some of the highlights?
I think it's essentially what we had at the first public hearing, with the exception that some of the language has been cleaned up by the town attorney. So there really hasn't been significant change.
If,
To
and I
regulate
think the changed or revised document has been available on the web and as well as available here at the town hall. So any input from Parks and Rec? Any other comments? Fred, Frank?
Question. Why is the Waterboro Land Trust mentioned in?
They had some specific concerns that the ordinance would regulate activities on land trust land, and we wanted to make the distinction between the two, that the land trust is separate, and they would be regulated by their own set of rules.
I guess I prefer you just said that. Land Trust is not involved in this. It's not part of the town. I don't see why it should be included in there at all. You include every other endeavor in town, business in town, and say this is how we're going to regulate it. I just don't understand including it myself.
Well, the land trust is different from other business in the sense that we deed over municipal properties to the land trust, so it's land
Once
that's
it's
owned by...
theirs, it's theirs.
Correct. Well, in a sense, yes. If they ever dissolve, it reverts back to the town.
And those areas were recreational type areas, and I think what it does is clears up any ambiguity there. This is not the town, this is now the land trust. No, it used to be a
So
town.
would that be why the no hunting was emphasized, that we could do hunting? Is that because of the because of the land trust land? I mean, none of the town land was certainly, you can't hunt in any of the Friendship Park or Osprey Pine, so I assume that was put in there simply for the Waterboro Land Trust?
To a large part, that was one of their arguments, that they had properties on the mountain that we would be restricting hunting up there, and they didn't want to get into that.
Yeah, but we wouldn't restrict them once that's their property.
Once it's their
Right.
property, it's their property.
If nothing
And that was
more-
why the distinction was
If
made.
nothing more, I guess it puts something, if somebody's questions, well, it was town property, now I can't hunt on it, it's now land trust, I guess we could point to the Parks Ordinance and says, well, the Parks Ordinance does speak to the fact that if it's a land trust property, this ordinance doesn't comply to it, or imply that those provisions are for that property. I mean, there's a little gray, I mean, we got Osprey Pine that's being transferred, it's been a Parks.
Right, but
Property
you
for-
can't hunt at Osprey Pine.
Right, but I mean, the issue of, it's now gonna become land trust, I think this just kind of draws the line that if the question comes up of, well, wait a minute, there's a Parks and Rec ordinance, it implies that, by its definition, that Osprey Pines is Parks and Recreation use,
Right.
and I think it just defines that.
Don't agree with it, but, I wanted to ask.
I hate to say this, I actually agree with Frank. And that was my only comment about the, that was kind of my only comment about this, was I don't agree that that the land trust should be referenced in it at all, because the land trust is not a town function, it's not a town group, it's not a town committee, and once the property reverts to the land trust, it's to the land trust, and what they do with it is what they do with it.
Yeah, I see it maybe as an interim. I mean, this land is reverting to, there's a possibility in some of the land that's reverted to the land trust that they could lease back to the town for recreational use. So it could be a little bit of a gray area in some people's minds, not in ours particularly. But, you know, and it may be 5 years from now when as we revisit this ordinance, we take it out. And there's no need for it anymore. But at this time, I think what it does is it gets rid of any ambiguity.
I guess my only other one would be the one on, what's the Gilbert one up on Osby Hill. That one ought to be clearly stated, there is no hunting up there, period. Because that's a deed restriction up there. That would just clarify that.
You mean the Gilbert, the property that was,
Booty Pond.
Booty Pond.
Yeah. Because that's a deed restriction.
Right.
There's a lot of deed restrictions on that.
yeah, like, don't ever use this land.
That's right, yeah.
Unless you're doing something educational.
Fletcher Education Study Group, which there is one in town, there's about 12 of us. Nice piece of property.
Any other comments, questions?
Maybe if you're reading a book up in your deer stand.
That could be construed as a learning experience.
That the land trust issue raises significant concerns. I only put it in there at the request of the land trust when they talked about it, because they wanted something in there that made the distinction between the municipal properties and the land trust properties.
And
that was the whole intent of it.
And I think John's point is at this juncture where we're just in the throes of turning those lands over, right? It may serve a purpose to make a definition. I'm not sure 10 years down the road that means a whole hill of beans. Because I think what is the land trust property then is the land trust. It isn't. Anything else? Sensing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public
So
hearing.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. I'm going to jump back only because, kind of sit by this. Any announcements? To get the hearing going as close as possible on time, which we missed that one anyway. Hearing a delegation? Mr. Boers. Chief Boers.
Real quick, I just have
Up to the mic,
request-
up to the mic.
at the request of, I believe you guys sent a couple weeks ago, for the streetlights on
Yes.
Route 5 and Cody Lane in that vicinity. Couple things. Sean and I have had an opportunity to speak. Looking at the policy or the ordinance that was created on June 13th, 1992, it doesn't allow a light to be installed there based on this ordinance. But, so one we had a thought is to update the ordinance to some fashion, but also looking at that, I did drive up tonight actually, so I can give you something to report tonight. I drove up and it's dark, but while I'm going up there, I think there's a lot of side streets that are dark as well. So how do we make the distinction of what intersections need a street light? And where do we go in the future? I don't know as if we can give you a definitive answer. It's dark, there's no question. But for the number of houses, and I think I spoke to her as well, and for the number of houses it's going to serve, it's limited.
That was a question to you. We knew that it was dark, and there's a whole bunch of places that are dark in this town. Does that come forward as a place that is a safety issue beyond what would be all the other dark spaces in Waterboro?
I don't think any more so than going down Federal Street and having a dark spot down there. if houses aren't numbered, first of all, we're not gonna be able to find the house realistically. But it's dark. I don't know if we can appropriately say that it's darker than another spot. You know, somebody's light from next door to the garage could light up the area, but I think his concern was he couldn't find his roadway, correct? And I don't know what the initial request was, but.
Well, I think he had some concerns with that it is dark and that there are a lot of folks that travel in and out of there. And I think you're absolutely right, there's a number of different spots in town that are dark. I think the more significant question becomes, given the ordinance the way that it reads, I think we would all agree, thank you very much, but no, because of the ordinance, we can't put a street light there, right? However, I think part of this intent was, are we at a crossroad where the ordinance should be revisited? Maybe there are some things that have happened that would suggest that the town has some, or should have an obligation above and beyond what's in the original ordinance. I don't personally want to change the ordinance, but it's at least something that we ought to poke at. The other piece that I guess I would raise is, should the ordinance, and I don't necessarily think one ordinance should point to another one, but there are some requirements as some of these subdivisions go in that we don't look at lighting per se with the zoning board, or with the planning board. Maybe the planning board should make that as part. I mean, we worry about, gee, is there fire protection, right? Do we need a cistern, or do we need something that accommodates that? And in reality, maybe we ought to be saying, and oh, by the way, that development needs a street light or multiple street lights based on its entrance to a town or a non-town road or whatever the case may be. And even though it's a private road, when it gets constructed.
That was one thing I did mention to Tammy today, is that if a subdivision or a developer building commercial property goes up, can we require a streetlight be installed? Who's responsible for it long-term, I don't know, that's to be discussed, I guess.
Because
but-
Cody Drive, those houses are all, it's a private road.
Yep.
Private
There's not a
houses
lot of
were built in
houses.
there, right?
One of my questions was, is that a high accident spot? And Matt couldn't recall of any accidents there.
I mean, I had to research the road, actually, it's a different road, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a small road where we actually wanted a light.
Yeah, Foster Lane was really good action.
So I had to go up and research it, but nothing that sticks out in my mind. And I don't think Sean didn't know where it was initially either, so I don't think it was anything that he's been up to for accidents.
I think you've answered the question.
Of course, while you're on the subject, there is one place that needs a streetlight in this town. That's town property, and that's the entrance to the transfer station. Ever been down there 6 o'clock at night one at a time?
Oh, at the entrance.
Right at the entrance, the Lord knows I know what the dump entrance is as well as anybody, and I've been to the dump entrance. Pitfall.
Anything else, Matt, before we let you go? Okay. Very bright jacket today.
Wednesdays.
All right, any correspondence? I think we're all set there, other than what we have in the packet. Reports, Nancy.
I just have a couple of things, because we're still working on the budget. I met today with Dennis Pratt from Alpha One.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
He's still there. Huh?
He's still there. He came out and he looked at the buildings, and he is going to give us a proposal on what it will cost. He also gave me the name of another business that he's going to get a hold of to see about what it will cost to put the handicap door opening on these doors. And I also have contacted Glacial Energy, and I sent them all of our electrical bills to see if they might be able to lower it.
We did that last year, and it wasn't going to be a very significant savings.
Well, I figured it wouldn't hurt to try it again, so I sent him everything today, back to that.
Different staff guy picked something up than it was last year. You might- Anything else, Nancy?
That's it.
Anything from the board?
John and I came to the 13-town group meeting last night, and we were only 2 of 3 that showed up.
There are only 2 towns here, Acton and us.
So,
Probably because I get cancer.
Acton was probably not as,
I got home and had a message on my phone.
you
it would have been
had-
nice
you
if
had
you would have shared it with
Well,
us.
if I was home at 10 o'clock in the morning, I would have, but I got home at 7. So,
So, yeah, there was no meeting. And I'll just make one other comment. There's signs all around town about the safety of the ice at Ossipee Lake. And I just remind people that are choosing to go out there to recognize that it's very, very thin ice. There's been a number of people that have gone through already this season. There's, the Warden Service has put out a number of warnings about ice safety across the state this year. There's a lot of local businesses that have put thin ice on their reader boards, and just encourage people, if you don't know, don't go.
absolutely.
you know, now you can have some real cold days, but you get an insulated layer of snow that's going to keep the ice
Fred?
What do you
thin.
think about banning all vehicles on that lake?
I'm not sure that we have the legal right to do that.
Well, can you,
We've
could
had
that be,
dis-
the fish and game, would they have something to do with it?
The
Well-
Fish and Game cannot. I can tell you that there was a warden that was down there last weekend pulling a snowmobile out, and somebody else was going to go across the lake, and the warden could not stop him.
I don't think, I'll be honest with you, I don't trust it. I don't trust that lake again. Looking at the ice in front of my house, I'm telling you,
I was on Ospey Mountain on Saturday, and you could look down and see open water.
sure.
Somebody's phone, Fred. He calls me all the time. Pocket calls me all the time.
That was
Anything else from the board? Committee report. Planning board?
They were told, they were sent notices, and their secretary reminded.
Frank's here.
Oh,
Frank,
Frank's
say
here?
you want to give a report?
What?
Planning board?
Other than what's in the minutes on the website, nothing. It's been pretty quiet. We've had a couple training sessions. Other than that, I don't know what to say.
Okay. So maybe a little
Cattle prod.
cattle prod.
That might be a little bit big.
Okay. Anything else on planning board comments, questions? Okay. Who's up next week? Nobody.
EDC?
Is it?
Nobody next week.
Yeah, I think
It's the
it's-
fourth week. We skipped the
Yeah,
fourth
I
week and
think-
went to the
Oh,
first
because it's a
week.
workshop
Yeah.
next week,
It's the first week in February.
and the next one up to
Comment?
EDC.
Thinking about it, I'm not so sure the planning board can't specify streetlights, because the mandate, in the first paragraph specifies safety. That'd be,
If you could say that somebody's got to put a cistern in for water.
yeah, why couldn't you say you had to have a streetlight?
Although, the difference is the system into the water
It's a one-
is not, is the town responsible for maintaining that?
Not
And the
necessarily.
streetlights, the town, it's a liability on the town to maintain the streetlight and pay for the electricity, right?
Well, if there's an association of that.
It's a private
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
But it's good, I would guess if that's, the language is there,
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that. All right, let's move into new business. Discuss appointing an alternative or an alternate to EcoMaine Rep. You know that Willis has requested that we find an alternate in his, to fill in for him if he's unable to make it. So I guess we would do what? We need to,
I'll make a motion that we post that to seek
Candidates?
potential applicants.
Yep.
okay? Somebody want to, second or we can, I think we just can, I'm sure we need an official vote, but if you want to have a vote, we can do
Yeah,
that.
so what, the meetings are once a month, are they?
I think it's a monthly meeting.
And it's So be responsible for a monthly meeting and then periodic reports.
Yeah, and I think each one of those people on the board become a member of a subcommittee. I'm not sure how many meetings of that get cranked into it, but,
Usually 2 to 4 a month.
yeah, Frank was on for a lot of years, when it was back when it was regional waste.
Yeah.
And Chuck and Eric were in there running the book.
So the members compensated for driving to the meetings and stuff? Is that on your own? If you drive, when you drive into Portland?
Anybody ever does? We never did.
So, you want a second, somebody want a second?
I'll second it.
Second it, we'll do an official vote here. This is to kind of put a posting out that we're looking for an alternate as a EcoMaine Rep. And maybe in that posting, we could just maybe define kind of responsibility. Any discussion? All those in favor?
For discussion,
Yeah.
if we could perhaps maybe get it on the web, the local paper, and post it in the town hall, as suggestions.
I think that's, you go to the local paper, right? The
Reporter,
Smart Shopper,
oh, the smart.
maybe, I don't know what was it cost to put it in the Smart Shopper and all that, so. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Discuss, vote, sign year-end balance adjustments. We've got those in the folder over here. Any comments, questions, concerns?
I think the auditor pretty well answered their questions and concerns that we had on Thursday evening.
I didn't entertain a motion.
Move to accept the year-end adjustments as posted.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Schedule additional budget workshops. We talked about Thursday nights. I know we kind of been poking at, should we have a all-day session, half-day session, whatnot. Some suggestions kicking around for a Saturday morning. We talked about this Saturday or next Saturday?
I was thinking
This
this
Saturday.
Saturday. This Saturday, like 8 to 12 or something like that. Or 8 until 11:30, or if we need to go to 8 until we get it done, or until 12 o'clock. You know,
I'm
we're-
available until noontime this Saturday.
What?
I'm available until noontime this
Yeah.
Saturday.
until-
Yeah, I think I can sort that out. Although I gotta actually make my weekly dump run, but,
Go on Sunday.
so.
And we can set that up tomorrow, or rather Thursday night. We can get whatever we get done Thursday night and make sure that we get that Saturday set up.
So,
Maybe this Saturday. You're on your own Saturday.
that's okay, we can be on it.
Look out.
So Thursday night, we'll go for a couple of hours, and then we'll tee up what we're gonna do on Saturday, right? So everybody was good with Saturday?
Yep.
All right, so Pam, if you could just make sure that gets posted. And is Cindy okay with that? No, she wanted it. Okay. Old business, discuss town report dedication. I think we scrubbed the, I don't want to say traditional, but I mean, I think the tradition has been always to honor someone that's passed on here that's been a significant contributor to the town, but, and I think we're open for some discussion.
There's been, what, two suggestions? One is to dedicate it to the employees of the town, and the second suggestion was to dedicate it to all those people that work behind the scenes, the silent Santas and all the volunteers and stuff that put in countless hours on different, projects throughout the town that get little or no recognition at all, even though some don't particularly want it. Am I correct in that, Pam? If those are the two?
I mean, this is, I'm also thinking that Willis Lord is 91 years old, has given his life to this town as a selectman, as a road commissioner, as
Moderator.
our representative, our senator, and he's not well now, so he's just recently gone off 2 committees, and maybe this would be a nice time to recognize him too.
I like that.
If I was there to vote, that's my vote, I would give it Willis. It's too bad we have to wait for somebody's gone, and they don't even know how much we appreciate them. I think Willis would be wonderful.
It'd be nice to have a tribute while he's still alive, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, we seem to do those things after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that we dedicate the town report this year to Willis Lord.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Let's-
Maybe next year you could do the foil, like Time magazine, so everybody can see themselves when they look at it, you know?
Yeah, that'd be nice. The picture, yeah, the mirror. Okay.
But I would still like to see, maybe we could do, I would love to see a staff picture. Get everybody in front of town hall.
I think that
and-
should, you
and
know,
the-
and then...
You can put that in anyway.
Yep.
You know, the
I
staff
think that
picture.
there should be in every one of those departments. There's no reason that you can't have, you know, those employees highlighted and whatnot. I think that's a great idea to kind of sprinkle that throughout the, we're always looking for pictures of something and whatnot. Let's,
You can use them for filler.
yeah, we can have Pam on every other page and,
Well, David took all the pictures of all of the employees for the website, so under their piece, we could put their photo, and then under the committee pieces, it would be nice to have a picture of all the folks on the committee. But I just, to me, I would love to see a picture of all of the staff together in one place in front of town hall.
I think we could arrange for that.
Why couldn't you do both, like for Willis and what Gordon said, for the people that have volunteered time in the same, I'd like to see that. I think that's a good
I
suggestion.
think that's...
So a lot of people walk away and say, well, maybe they didn't appreciate what we did, well, you know?
I think you're right. I think we can
I'd like to
certainly
take credit for it, but I didn't suggest
No,
it. That
we
came
didn't
from
say it.
some of the employees.
Well, we can do I think we can do both. I think you end up with kind of a dedication, but also a recognition, and I think that's kind of what we need to put together, yeah, so.
Department heads, this is a great opportunity for department heads to be telling within their reports of how valuable their volunteers are. I mean, that's paragraph 2 in my
Yep.
report every year. I mean, I got 40 people coaching basketball for me right now.
But it would be nice to get,
They're all getting paid 0. They're driving to a Rundle. We got a game in a Rundle tomorrow night. I got two teams full of people going down there. And we got slippery roads, and they're not getting. I mean, mileage reimbursement would even be an issue. And they don't say a word. They just love doing it. So you can build that into the. You can build that into individual reports, certainly, and I would guess that, you know, Parks and Rec's probably got the bulk of that stuff, but we've got so many committee members that really be nice to...
so corral all the staff at some point. We need, you know, the Clint's guys and Fred and Tommy and whoever else, and I'm not sure where you take a picture now, but maybe you can do it in the hall over there with, you know, my view is you put the camera guy up on the top and you have everybody looking up at him, whatever.
That'd be
Somebody
cool.
can get creative. So, all right. Handicap accessibility, I guess we've kind of somewhat talked about that. So you got Alpha One and some recommendations from Dennis. Can't believe he's still there, but I mean, he's been there since, when was it we did it before? It had to been,
Well, we was discussing that. It was either 12, 13 years ago. Might even been longer than
Yeah, I
that.
think it was longer than that because it had to be in the late 80s probably. Anyway, warrants, bills, and payroll.
Can we go back to the accessibility one?
Yes, certainly.
Has Carrie and Patty been assigned the task of doing that, answering those questions and that survey from the state registry, voters registry's office?
Well, I would think that would be a given, but I can tell them if they have to be told.
No, I just recall at our previous meeting, we'd asked that they be instructed to do that, and I was just following up to see whether or not they'd done
I'll
it.
send them something to do it.
Anything else? All right, warrants and bills, and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Discuss and vote, sign minutes of 1:12.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Pending decisions. I think we took land trust deeds off from this because there was some anticipation that they were going to be here. So,
Are we ready to do that next week?
well, they
We haven't got them yet.
haven't got them, but, so I guess we'll add that back on there, but I would also like to add it as an agenda item if in fact we can push to get them here.
We can take off, the Parks ordinance will need to go for a
Right.
vote, and then that'll be able to come off.
Yeah, we probably should have voted on it tonight.
Do we
The,
have enough information for the streetlight to make a vote on that?
Well, I think ultimately we owe Mr. Jimmer an
I was
answer.
going to say, send them a
So-
correspondence.
So we'll put those as agenda items next week is the vote on the Parks ordinance. Discuss and vote streetlight request. I mean, I'm not sure where the deeds are at this point. I mean,
They're with Ken.
we need to, there is a, I mean, the only thing that he sent off to us was the amended lease, right?
Were they supposed to be in the mail or something, Nancy?
Last conversation I had with Hannah was that he had okayed them, he sent a thing to the selectmen saying they were okay to sign, he was just waiting.
All right, let's do
I'm
whatever
not
we
sure
gotta
where
do
they
to,
are now.
let's do whatever we gotta do so that the deed, whomever has it, is here for us to sign next week. I think it's one deed, right? But they're all the parcels are. I mean, we've kind of spun wheels long enough here.
Could have also, Tammy's got a notice here too, and it was, to put, to start discussing, since we're right now in the midst of planning for the fishing derby, is to look at the possibility of a site adjustment on, a site change, rather, not adjustment, site change on the Old Home Days.
They have, I had a member come in and talk to me, they are looking into it. The problem is to get their state permit for the fireworks there.
Yep.
So the fireworks company has come over and looked at it, and I'm not sure if they've contacted the state, or if the state will wait to come down in the spring once the snow is gone.
I'm not sure it's any better. I mean, it looks, in a way, it looks good, the middle school, but you look at all those roads around the middle school too, and those are fairly narrow, and you get parking on both sides of those and try to
You
get,
wouldn't be able to park on both
you know,
sides.
it may, that may be even worse than the west road.
The parking lot at the high school is bigger than the parking lot at the middle school, correct?
I don't think the middle school parking lot is as large as the high
Yeah.
school.
No, you get two parking areas at the high school. I mean, you got the,
North
what used to
End,
be the middle, or whatever they call it now.
Freshman Academy.
Freshman Academy, but anyway, my suggestion would be is we really need a workshop with the committee, and we ought to tee that up at next month's workshop, so.
One thing about the middle school too is you're adjacent to Gobiel Park, Friendship Park. And that could possibly be used also as a site for some activities and being able to walk back and forth. So, but it's, I was thinking about those roads in there for parking, and on both sides of the roads, it could be really difficult.
So,
The other issue that I'd like to mention on that is you've got far more residential areas around the middle school than you do around the high school. I think that,
They're
that
close.
as much as people like fireworks and stuff, some people don't go to them, and, I can see people with newborn babies in there. I mean, the cluster of the residences is much more pronounced than over at the high school.
Yeah.
So I think that if we do look that way, we ought to look at doing some type of survey within those people in those areas to see whether or not they'd be, inclined to, have it there, or to find out what special problems we might encounter. So we don't want to all of a sudden change and then find out that,
Well, I think first we got to do is, even if the state would even consider it, I would be surprised that they would consider it with all of the residences around there.
John and I got a correspondence from a resident who had requested that we explore moving it to the middle school, and so I shared that with the board just so that we could have a discussion. And what my thought was, not only discussing the pros and cons of moving it, but we tried to do things a little bit differently last year with parking, so I think it would be good to look, did that work, didn't it work, are there ways that we can tweak it? I didn't send that out saying, oh, we gotta, move it to the middle school. I just wanted it out there for discussion and to look at it, both pros and cons, and how did we do last year, what worked, do we need to tweak it, and start looking at it now while it's still 6 months away instead of 2 weeks before, and figure out we don't have enough time to make adjustments if we need to.
And there's always the question too, is it possible to bus people into the fireworks? So there.
well, you're right. I mean, but I think all great suggestions, let's have that discussion with the committee. So, how about, there's not too soon, we can, next month, the fourth Tuesday of the month, is our workshop meeting, so let's tee them up for that night.
So February 24th,
Yep,
23rd.
that's agreeable with everybody, we'll invite the committee in and
Okay.
start the dialogue. All right? We do have an executive session scheduled, so I'm going to jump to,
so we're skipping agenda items.
I'm going to discuss agenda items. You have something else you want to add?
Well, I'd like to discuss the possibility of us getting going on the comprehensive plan. I think that I had some email correspondence with Tammy Jo, and apparently she has some information that we're missing out on some grant opportunities because we don't have a comprehensive plan in place. But aside from missing out on the monies, I just think it's a prudent approach for any municipality to have a comprehensive plan that they can work at.
We do have a comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
It's dated by all stretches of the imagination, okay? And it has to be, and I think it probably is time to drive it back to the forefront.
I think there's two ways to go in this. One is getting a comprehensive plan accepted by the state and updating the one we have and doing it in a timely manner. And I think Tom can come in, and Tom was starting to work on this, I know, and he got, I think, sidetracked with a whole bunch of other issues. But the first thing is to get what we have and what we need to have in order to get that accepted by the state, and then go into a more a real update and go into it in greater detail, because that is a 2-year process. When you really get into that, you're looking at a whole bunch of things. I think what we want to do is get something okayed by the state in a couple of months, so that does make us, it does put
Well,
us,
there, I mean, it was in 1990.
you can do that.
1990, we had a comprehensive plan, and it went through, and we hired, the state was funding all of those kind of things, and we went through, and it was approved by the state planning office. I
What-
think it was revisited in 2000,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure whether that...
That was accepted by the town, but not by the state.
Okay.
We
So-
never have had one that's accepted by the state. If I could just jump in here, Brian Doyle is coming to the Economic Development Committee meeting on Thursday this week, and one of the topics of conversation is going to be some grant funds that are out there for economic planning, and there's also some funds there for communities that need to do their state-approved comprehensive plan. I don't think we're going to qualify for it because our income exceeds, our standard resident income exceeds the guidelines for that grant. But that's what started kind of that conversation about comprehensive plan. Tom has a lot of information about it that he wanted to share, a lot of things that need to be done and whatnot. So I think, I'm interested in hearing what Brian has to say on Thursday when he comes in to talk to EDC, and then having that conversation with Tom. So I think before we jump into it, it would be good to have Tom in here
Yeah.
and have it, let Brian come in and share if there's some funding out there that's going to help us do it. Hey, thumbs up. And then let Tom come in and explain what the process needs to be.
I think, from what I understand, I think you can have an acceptable comprehensive plan, and you put together a committee for a couple of months that meets a couple times. Tom does most of the work, makes a presentation to the committee passes it, it goes to the state, it gets accepted, then you go into it in much more detail. And now you're talking about a committee that puts forth a lot of effort and a lot of work and time. But the first one, just to get it on the state board, the state books, I think you can do that pretty quickly.
I think it's a discussion we need to have. Our next meeting is supposed to be a workshop because it's the 4th
Right.
Tuesday.
And you have Kim Cole coming in that night, too.
Yep, to do
That's
the
fine.
TIF.
We can talk about, we can expand that, I guess, beyond that. When, I guess, well, we'll all get caught up, because I know when we did the first comprehensive plan, and the state funded, and the federal government funded a lot of that, we hired Sebago Techniques to do the, actually, number crunching and whatnot. Dwayne was here then. And then the next time that it was revisited it had to be a good 10 years later, right? It had to be
Yeah, it was on
2000 or 2001.
And that was, it had state money on that one, too.
Right.
It paid for...
So the question is that
Maine.
what did those lack at that time? Which is kind of a moot point now, because the state planning office keeps changing the game. So, it really becomes now, what is the latest plan accepted by the townspeople lack that the state wants?
Yeah.
That doesn't, okay, you can get a grant, but let me put these handcuffs on you, right?
Yeah.
So,
There's several reasons. If you want to plan primarily to get state grants, then do it as quickly and as painlessly as possible and get it done. If you want it to really update our plan of almost 10 years ago to look at where the town is going over the next 10 years, then you do it with a great deal more participation from townspeople and a lot of time and effort, and it's worth it.
And
It's a great process.
That's where I think we need to go, John. I'm not interested in hurrying up and getting something done just for the sake of getting it done. There's a lot of sections that seem to be missing. Times have changed, technologies have changed. We're turning towards, maybe a more green environment. I think there's a lot of things that need to be
significant
looked at.
players in that, is the planning board,
Yep.
all right? Certainly the board. I think at one time, we had a conservation committee, but they were players at the time, Steve Everett and company. Now I think we have the EDC that has that economic piece that potentially goes into that. So I think we also have done a lot of work relative to collecting the data and whatnot, which becomes some of the road issues, right? So I think there has been a lot of work.
It's an ongoing process.
Right, I don't think you can say, let's do it again in 10 years. I think you have to say, the charge to me is that you take somebody from the planning board, somebody from some of these other committees, and say, that's the comprehensive planning core committee, right? Because I think they have to go back and touch all of those aspects of it, but we'll sort that through. So we'll add that for next week. Comprehensive plan discussion, I guess.
We need to have Tom here for that.
And we need
definitely.
Tom for
And
that.
we need Tom. Tom's here anyway.
Maybe we make that as
Is
part
it-
of our workshop.
No, he's not here next week.
Oh, he's not? So I thought he was here with part of,
26th, no.
maybe
He's
he
not
could
here
give
next
us a briefing on, in a very basic outline.
I would suggest that we
Oh,
hold
yeah.
off on that discussion
then we
until
delay it.
Tom
Yeah,
is
you need to
here.
have Tom.
Right. So it won't be next week. We'll address it next week. How's that? All right, let me run through the reminders here quickly, because we are going to have a workshop after the executive session to close out the night here. But items needing signature, warrants and bills of payroll, the minutes of 112, land trust deeds are not here, so we don't have to sign those. Reminder, WAB Business Development Meeting, 7:30 tomorrow morning. Economic Development Committee, 4 p.m. Thursday afternoon. Thursday, 7 p.m. Zoning Board of Appeals, Town Hall Annex. So we have an issue with us using this room for budget, right?
No,
Thursday night?
the EDC is here until 5:30, and our budget meeting's supposed to start at 5:30.
Yeah, and then there's a 7 o'clock Zoning Board of Appeals meeting
Oh.
in this room. So,
Well-
we'll work that out, and maybe we
5:30 to 7.
maybe we meet in the kitchen or something. We just need to be able to make sure that we can hook Cindy up. All
And
right.
record it.
York County Community Action will be here Friday from 9 to 5. Fuel assistance, you must have an appointment. The ever-popular cribbage tournament is back at 8:30 on Saturday morning. Transfer Station Recycling Committee, Monday evening at 6:30 p.m. in this room. I think it's supposed to be. I'm going to present some of the stuff. David, we need to at least understand how to flop some stuff up on the screen here. And then Selectmen's meeting next week here at 6 p.m. We're not going to adjourn, so I would suggest we take 5 minutes, and then I would entertain the motion to go into executive session. How's that? So, Pam, you get 5 minutes to get everything signed.